Hello, it's been a while, but we are now back to doing the BMW. We're this time doing the exhaust system. It's had its catalytic converter removed, so I've bought a universal one. This is a supposedly 2.5 litre converter, so in theory it should be good for the 2 litre engine that's in here. Obviously 2 pipes. These do go into a singular muffler. However, then 1 pipe back to, I guess, a resonator, saying all of that sort of symbol, and then 2 pipes back from there originally, with a Y piece that joins it together just before the resonator. We're currently taking off the flange back there. If you look in here, we can see the original welds that they did, which are kind of crusty. Gotta cut out the converter in this section. So our current thinking is to remove the Y piece that we've got there and shift it forwards and put the converter in between it and this resonator sort of deal, and then have some new pipes coming probably from this area here back. That's just rubber, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a double D
suspender.
Pretty corroded. I may want to change it.
If we're going to do that, why not just cut it?
It's got. So that. Check that out. Okay, you got it. For yours.
How's that?
So that's the.
So in theory this is a vacuum operated baffle.
That seems to work, doesn't it?
Will definitely move. And there is dust coming out of it.
So whether it works or not.
This silencer, oh no, it's just a plate. I think there's a split here, but no. Yeah. So in theory this will be closed at low RPMs, and then when you get up the range it opens the baffle to let more noise out. And gas obviously, but they're in it for the noise. It could be in worse condition.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's actually pretty good. You can see what they've done, don't they?
So they've
basically chopped it here. That welding there is much better than that welding there. So I'm
that's
picking
really
that to
scraggy.
Yeah, this is just rubbish.
Cold weld maybe?
No, I just think they tried to weld rusted steel. That there is quite a good weld, so that's probably factory. But I'm not completely sure, because the other options it could be is there could be like an exhaust that comes down here, like a down and then into the thing.
Yeah.
So it could be a couple of.
Because this is
around that.
Looks like a different material than that.
Well, it does that.
And I can see, yeah, you can see a clamp mark there.
Yeah. So that might be stainless steel. And the same with this.
Which may be why it didn't weld well.
Yeah.
No, well, it's something at least.
4
wires
yeah.
on each.
Because normally speaking, you get the 4-wire ones on the back, so on the front, and this is 2-wire on the back. Because all these are doing.
This is the front.
No, this is the back. That's the front. The other two, the two.
Oh, I meant front of the cat.
Yeah. So we need to have a look to see what's actually there in terms of how the system's set up. But it looks to me like you've got obviously 2 separate cats.
Yeah.
But it looks like you've got 4 wires at the front and 4 wires at the back. And normally speaking, the reason you have a 4-wire is that the 2 white wires.
The heaters.
Oh, this one's even loose. Holy crap.
That may have been what was rattling.
Probably.
Ugh. It's worse than my one was.
So normally speaking, the 2 white wires there are the heater, and the black and the grey are the O2 sensor.
Yeah, the
And
actual
you have a heater to warm
variance.
the sensor up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And bring the sensor up to temperature. Normally speaking, on the back, because all these ones at the back are doing is really just putting a light on the dash effectively.
It's just difference testing.
Yeah. So most systems will be looking at the front O2 sensors and using that to calibrate the fuel into the engine, and the back ones are just going around saying, yeah, the cat's working, or no, the cat's not working. And when they're not working, when the cat's not working, they throw up a check engine light. But they don't normally have heaters on, they're normally just a 2-wire cable.
Probably redundancy. So that they only have to have one.
No, it's not that.
No, I'm saying redundancy, so they only have to have one part number. They're not necessarily all wired up, but it's one part for.
Well, generally speaking,
not redundancy, simplicity.
With these ones,
supply chain.
With these ones, I think you have to have heaters working in order for them to work. But I don't know.
Okay, so now that we've got the exhaust entirely removed, and the exhaust basically ends here at the moment. Let's see what she sounds like. That's alright.
So,
where are we cutting?
what I'd like to do is to cut there. Cut there. And there. And then it's a short piece of pipe. 45, short piece of pipe at 45. That goes in here. These get blocked, these get taken off. Now this is going to be interesting because once that's on, actually what we're going to have to do is take this and put this
There, yeah. Keep that in front.
and then a 90 degree round or 45 round, and then, or not this actually, thinking about it. Yes, this.
Yeah, keep the O2s.
Yeah.
And that keeps the the cat roughly in the original position as well.
Yeah, and then you come out of that, so there's a flange out of that. So it's a piece of, there's a flange out of that with a pipe on it, like that, coming out. The cat sits like that. And there's another flange like that. And that, these two things here, we need to get another couple of those. We want one in there and one in there. We've got to have these back on, haven't we?
So the wire's going...
So no, so this is a straight piece of tube.
Yeah, we're putting out more cats in.
Yeah, so no, so this is the cat we're putting in, okay?
Yeah.
So it's coming out a single outlet, a flange onto the end of that. So no, flange the same as that.
Yeah.
And a single pipe coming out which is going into there. That single pipe that goes into there has got to have two of these things on it for the O2 sensors to screw into.
Why not use the Y piece that's there if we use it, or that there if we're going to do that already?
Because those have got to be behind the cat, not in
Oh,
front
those
of the cat.
cat.
Yeah. So the ones that are pre-cat are up here.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that tell the engine what it's doing and how it's doing it. The post-cat ones, which tell the car that the cat's working, have to be between there and there.
There must have been very small cats in there originally.
Oh, they were tiny ones, I think. In fact, I wouldn't mind betting what it was. It was actually a single cat.
Yeah.
A single unit like that, but had
Two
in,
inputs,
two out.
yeah. Similar to the muffler sort of deal.
Yeah. In fact, very similar to that.
Well, similar to my muffler more.
So if we put this like that.
So basically everything from this line here back is junked.
Except for that bit.
Except
that bit's going to end up here.
Yeah. So from there to here.
Yeah. And we'll probably end up cutting this about here if we can.
So go straight.
And weld that into there. So where that's sitting. Now what I'd like to do, grab a cup of tea, see if we can't find this exhaust system online. Because I'm looking at this thing here, you see where this has been chopped around here. I would like to know what that cat actually looked like.
That's fair.
Because there's something odd about this. See the way they're sort of staggered a bit? I mean, they may well be welded in.
I mean, those are staggered.
But what I'm thinking, if you flip those over,
Yeah, when I say they're staggered the other way.
they fit into that. Yeah, but if you do that,
Yeah, they're staggered
that.
the other way to.
But that then means these are before the cat.
And they're pointing at the ground.
What was that? But there's just something not quite.
More likely, there was an extra piece here that straightened it out and straightened it out here, but this one was slightly longer.
Yeah.
Because then it would match up here, and then the cat would go here. Round.
I mean, yeah, there's even a bit of wire sticking out the side of it. Where they're welding it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. So that's definitely been fucked around. And it's blowing here, up around the side here, probably because it's not in the correct position. I'm beginning to wonder whether it's actually worth trying to get a second-hand exhaust for this, you know.
Just one off a.
But the problem you've got is it's a 2-litre engine.
Yeah, which is the rare one.
Yeah.
Which is even rarer than the 4-cylinder version.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the 4-cylinder is your cheap one.
Yeah.
And then who's going to go for the 2 when you can have the 2.5?
Yeah.
And who's going to go for the 2.5 when you can have the 3?
Yeah.
Sort of deal.
Yeah.
The 2 is the smallest 6-cylinder. If you're getting a 6-cylinder, you want the biggest one you can get.
Yeah, I must think I was kind of like, why would you bank a 6-cylinder for 2 litre car?
Because the 4 is 1.9.
Yeah, so why would you just make bigger holes in that?
Yeah.
And call it a 2 litre? I mean, it would be the cheaper and more economical way of doing it.
I guess I just wanted the sound. It's something. Let's go see what a real one looks like.
Yeah.
So we've looked online at the original ones. The way it worked originally was the catalytic converter was here, but it was forward and then curved on the catalytic converter itself. Basically, this entire pipe was a CAD. And then it went into this, and then to the single one, depending on which model year, obviously. Yeah.
Or flange here, sorry, and then you're 45 in. So you just about got enough space to do that.
If we can, say we can trim off that, but we can't. That goes straight onto the flange.
Yeah. So this one here, you're coming out of this onto a flange, or if it was flange like that, it may even be that flange.
It is
There's no reason why you
flange.
can't use it, reuse it. And that's a stroke pipe going into the back of this. So there's nothing stopping you with that.
I'd hazard to guess that only
Hmm?
it's only just surface weld.
Pretty much, there's no penetration there at all, is there?
No. But there's a lot of slag on the top, but nothing inside.
It is wired, you know, like gas welded,
Yeah, even so.
big welded. But it looks almost like a fucking stick launcher.
They're the right size almost.
Yeah.
Which is weird because that 2.5 and that's meant to be like 66mm. They're meant to be a completely different size. $60mm, give or take.
59.7, so yeah, a bit of a skizzy off, and that will fit over that.
So what? Just go around with a
Yeah, just clean that up with a
crimp, I think.
thing, and you cut your slot in that to slide it over, and then when you clamp it down, it will make a nice tight fit. Providing when you cut your slot, say you cut your slot down to about here somewhere.
Yeah.
Providing your pipe goes into about there, then you're good to go.
Yeah.
Does this have any particular way round to go?
Not that I can tell. Unless, I guess, ribs at the back.
You may want to ask the question, eh? Not that it makes any difference to what we're doing here, but we want to put it on the car the right way around.
I'm curious why would it make a difference? It's just a straight mesh.
Yeah, I'm just curious more than anything else, just to double check, you know? I don't want to put it in and find out we've got it the wrong way around. That really would be a bastard. We go like that.
But closer pipe to you looks bigger than this one.
It is. It is a bit for some reason. I don't quite know why. But that's okay, so we can work with that.
Flip that around. Because then that one matches size-wise. No,
they're the same. So that's going to sit something like that, and then that's going to sit into this space here.
About there-ish.
Give or take.
Right, we can come back.
No, don't forget the flange. No, the flange is right there. Yeah. So you've got to have enough of the flange and the bit, and allow for your 202 sensors. So that's why that needs to come up like that, because you need space for that to sit there, and then an O2 sensor either, either side basically.
Yeah.
And those O2 sensors, we're going to have to put this in, just loosely put it in, one bolt hole in the front, one bolt hole in the back sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then with that white marker dot where we can actually put the sensors, and they're not going to foul anything or hang down under the car and it's stupid like that.
Yeah.
And then Drew and what have you. if I go back a bit further on that, i.e. just past where this weld is, I might then be able to actually pop that into there a little bit. In fact, that might be a better way of doing it. I'll go back to about here. Because that is this pretty much the right size. It's the same size as that, isn't it?
No, a bit bigger.
If we do that,
we're complicating the next step.
well, we're not, because that's going to go, that will end up there, flange on there, and then you've got your 45 going out like that, and the 45's got, you just cut the ends off to suit whatever length you want.
Yeah.
So it's like right back here for all your masses.
It looks like it'll be sharper than 45 is all.
Hmm?
Looks like it'll be sharper than 45 is all.
Well, we can sort that out in a minute with the what's them?
Where's your? Just run your square through there. If I do that. There. Oh, one gone.
What happened there? Oh, yeah, don't do that.
That's not 45, and that is a rough guess, obviously. That's more like a 30, I guess.
Well, 45 is what you get, you know. So this is 45 degrees. That's pretty much what you want.
No,
Give
it
or
just
take.
looks
Yeah.
wrong doing it that way.
No, that's pretty much what they want, is that.